from the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. Coach Coleman, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
I am doing good. Could be better. Could be a lot better, but I'm doing well.
All right, let's look back at Saturday in your game against Alabama A&M, and then we'll look to your road trip this week.
Well, a hard-fought game between us and A&M Bulldogs last weekend. Coach Jones and his coaching staff and his team came here to Golden Line Stadium and played well. Played well enough to win. We did some good things from a statistics standpoint, but the most important stat is winning the football game, and unfortunately, we didn't do that. Mr. Mason, he's a man. He played well. He controlled that offense for him and did a lot of good things. He threw the ball not as much as they have in the past, but they ran the football, and he scrambled, was able to get outside the pocket and do some good things along with him and Mr. Lacey. The thing that the things that we did well, we did some good things also. We played hard. I was pleased with the effort of the team, but like I said, the outcome was not very pleasing for me, and still isn't. The Alabama A&M is a good football team, a good program, they always have been, and Coach Jones is doing a great job with them. We had 12 penalties, and that's the thing that I will be stressing to the team today, and the thing that we've got to learn to overcome. We cannot play and win close football games committing that many fouls. But we will bounce back and get ready this week for Alcorn. Now, I did hear you say that it was a 4 o'clock game. To my understanding, the game has been moved to 2 o'clock. Can you please check that for me?
Okay, we'll do that, Coach.
All right.
All right, let's open the floor for questions at this time. Coleman.
Coach, I see Morrell, Pine Bluff Commercial. You're starting a 3-game road trip, after your first home loss. Can you talk a little bit about trying to gain some momentum on the road as you continue SWAC play?
Well, it is SWAC play. They're the East, of course, but it is a SWAC game, one that we need desperately. We'll leave an ample amount of time to make sure that we get our rest, IC, to make sure that we can put our best foot forward come Saturday. It is an early game. I prefer the early games. I think idle time, sitting around the hotels on away games, it's kind of, I don't like that. So I'm glad that it's going to be possibly a 2 o'clock game according to the schedule that I have. So the thing that we've got to do is we've got to go out and we've got to prepare this week in practice for a tough road game against Alcorn, and try to put our best foot forward as far as winning this football game, because it is another conference game for us.
Right. Alcorn beat Grambling, but they're coming off that loss against James Madison. What concerns you about Alcorn?
They're very well coached also. Very good football team was last year. Gave us a heck of a fit here at Golden Line Stadium. We actually had to come back from behind to win that game last year. And they're going to be well poised, offensive, defensive, and special teams. Great players all the way across the board. And the thing that we've got to do is just cut back on our mistakes and play a good football game, and we'll see how it ends up.
Yeah. Do you have any concerns with your running game right now? Ben led the team in rushing, but you hadn't had anyone really, I guess, break out, like a lot of people thought would break out this time.
We all have high expectations, and it's no different for me. I have high expectations for our running game. I think we've got good running backs with Billings, Jenkins, and Tony. We should be running the football better. We had over 100 yards, had 180 yards this past game. Excuse me, I'm sorry, not that many. How many yards did we have rushing last game? We had 173 yards rushing last game. But when your quarterback is leading that campaign, that's not a good stat. I would like to have 173 yards rushing against anybody with the running backs doing it for the most part. But it is what it is at this point until we get, all of our chemistries in place as far as players. it is what it is, I see. And but we do, yes, it is a concern for us. We've got to get better in the running game.
Right. Is your defense where it needs to be? You've given up 14 points in your first 2 ball games.
Well, one of my goals defensively is to hold opponents to 17 points or less, and we've been able to do that versus 2 very good football teams, very good offensive football teams. So we're where we are, but, you know, the biggest stat, like I said earlier, is to win the football game. And unfortunately, we didn't do that this past week.
Thank you.
Coach Ken Rashad, TSPN Sports. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Good. When you look at the stat line and you see that, your team had 189 yards passing, 173 yards rushing, the one sore thumb that really seems to stick out, and you alluded to this earlier, are the 12 penalties. How do you go into this week addressing that particular issue?
Well, one of the things that we will do, and I just explained in my staff meeting to the coaches, that we can be a non-tolerant team in practice. We've got to make sure that we're making it aware, even more so aware, because we do in practice when there's infractions made. But we have to put a bigger emphasis on it. Now, if it means that I've got to go out and hire officials to officiate my practices, then that's what I've got to do, because I can't afford to have 12 penalties. We can't afford as a team to have 12 penalties. When we got drives going, those penalties are stymieing us from moving the chains. In a lot of cases, same way on the defense. When we've got them backed up or halfway stopped, the penalties are hurting us, giving them either 1st and 5 or first downs in some cases. So it's a big emphasis on us, and it's one thing that I have spoken with the coaching staff. And if I have to go as far as hiring officials for practice, then I will, because we've got to eliminate some of these penalties.
Hey, Coach Coleman, good morning. This is Charles Edmond from WPRL.
Good morning, Charles.
Couple of questions. Offensively, the second half of both games haven't been able to get much done. Can you pinpoint that?
Not really, Charles. The good effort, but execution have hindered us. Penalties have hindered us. I don't think they're unfocused the second half. I think we are focused the second half. The thing that we've got to do is we've just got to get it done. And that's what I'm challenging the coaches with. We've got to get it done the second half when we come back out. I mean, we had a beautiful drive to open the game. We go straight down and we score on A&M this past week. And then we come back and we just get kind of stymied. Now, take in mind, both of the teams we've played are very good football teams, and they've got good players on their side. But we've got to get more consistent on offense and play for 60 minutes. And in some cases, I'm seeing some of the guys maybe not giving me all they got.
And one final question. This is an obvious one. Being a former Redskin, what did you think about RG3's performance yesterday?
Well, I got a chance to see part of it. I was more interested in Tigers winning the FedEx Cup, well, being in first place for FedEx. So I was flicking the channels back and forth, but the kid played well. They got their first victory, beat a good football team, and I think he's the answer. My situation, or my comments with them was they needed a quarterback, and I think they found themselves one, a real good one.
Hey, Coach, it's Troy at the Democrat Gazette.
Hey, Troy.
Hey, just on Joe Dalton, I imagine any progress with him. I imagine, Saturday I don't think we asked you, but it was the foot again that held him out. Any progress on him?
Yeah, Joe should be ready to play and to travel with us this week. Xavier Lofton, who's a kid that has been playing in Joe's place, has actually played 2 extreme good games for us. He's running to the football. He's doing everything that we're asking him to do. He is young, so he's making some young mistakes, but overall he's grading out pretty good right now, Xavier Lofton. And so, Joe would have to get back in football playing shape once he comes back, but we do have him kind of penciled lightly in to travel with us this week.
Yeah. And I know, overall your defense has played well, just the 2 touchdowns each game, but what do you miss? Have you missed a little bit without Joe? I mean, he's got experience, he's played, he's been around a while. What did you miss without him?
Well, I think Xavier Lawson is playing well.
Yeah.
Joe did the advantage by having Joe in there would have been the experience, but Xavier's he's playing well for us. So, I'm not saying that Joe won't get his position back early on. He would have to work himself back into shape also.
Yeah.
But it hadn't been Xavier that's been an Achilles heel for us. Our goal is to hold them to 17 points or less. Now, we've been able to do that, so Xavier's doing a good job for us.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Coach Cole, Reggie Benson with the Huntsville Times. Good morning.
Hey, Reggie, how you doing?
I'm great. Look, I went back and looked at a couple of things. You mentioned penalties. Obviously, that was big, but also a combined 2 of 12 on 3rd and 4th down really kind of hampered you guys.
Well, Reggie, I don't think that stat is accurate. I'm researching it.
Okay.
Live.
I have another one like him, but
Are you there, Reggie?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Our opening drive, we were 3 for 3 on 3rd downs, and I think we were something like 3 for 5 at halftime. So, that's a little misleading, but it's one that I did point out because that's what's on the stat sheet, 2 for 9. And then on 4th down, we were 0 for 3. And those are 2 things that definitely kill you. I've got three areas that I highlighted, and until I research the 3rd downs, I'm going on the 2 for 9. We've got to be a better football team than 2 for 9 on 3rd downs.
Right.
And, of course, the penalties, we can't afford to do the 12 penalties. So, but right now, it is what it is. It's a big emphasis, one that I talked to the offensive staff about this morning in our staff meeting. But we can't have the 3 and outs. We've got to be able to maintain the football. We were able, even with the 2 and 9, we still won the time of possession. But we've got to be able to convert 3rd downs.
One other thing, you did a great job last year on Lacey, held him to 13 yards. This year he got loose against you. Give me an idea of that young man and what you've seen out of him.
He's pretty good. He is pretty good. He's definitely pretty good. One that I wouldn't want to play against every week. For my stats, he had 124 yards rushing, and 7.3. Anytime you give that up, that's pretty bad. And but he's a big one. He's a big one, and he's hard to bring down. It took a lot of game tackling, but they had a good game plan. They ran the football more this game. Utilizing him, and it was tough.
I'd like to thank Coach Coleman for coming on with us this morning. Coach, we'll check on that kickoff time to confirm with you, make sure we're all on the same page, and we'll wish you luck this weekend as you hit the road to take on Alcorn.
And I appreciate you. Thank you very much.